You know, a wise man once say, when you play blackjack, you always want to start with the basics.
Is the ace of Vegas, the ace of Vegas.
Hey guys, it's Vegas here. So I wanted to first off thank you for clicking on the video today. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. But the most important thing is I wanted to talk about a little bit of blackjack today. So as you guys know, I'm a card player. Most of my my Vegas comps actually come from the MyVegas Blackjack game. But I do get a lot of questions. I actually just recently got another question in a random thread about how you do the basic strategy. It wasn't so much the whole basic strategy, but one user was concerned about how to use the soft totals and how that worked on the basic strategy card. So I thought I'd go ahead and break that down for you guys. I'm going to go ahead and do a demonstration piece by piece, and we're going to go ahead and go from there. So for the purpose of this demonstration, I've picked the Wizard of Odds basic strategy card, and that's going to be our baseline strategy card. Now you can get these at the hotel gift shops and all that, but often personally, I found that they've been a little off. Like they'll tell you, they're not going to tell you overtly bad stuff like this, like not to split eights and things like that, but they're not always the most accurate. Wizard of Odds has been the most accurate one. I've had the best luck with them per se. Counting, non-counting, whatever, that just seems to be the most basic and consistent strategy. If you guys have found a better one, let me know in the comment section below. I'd really love to read up about it and try it out, so it'd be a really cool thing. But let's go ahead and get this party started. Now that you guys have a reference, I'll put it on the screen just so you guys know, and let's go ahead and break it down piece by piece. Okay, so there are three basic sections to the Wizard of Odds strategy card. You're going to have your hard totals up top, your soft totals in the middle, and then at the very bottom you're going to have your splits there. So your hard totals are the most important and most consistent ones because you're going to see these most of the time. So hard total is a card total where you don't have a lot of flexibility in it. So say for example you get a 10 and a 6, that's just a 16, nothing else happens. You either have to hit, you don't have to hit, so on and so forth based on what the dealer has. Those are the easiest ones to see, and those are the easiest ones to remember after you played the game a couple times. Okay guys, and here's our demonstration of hard totals here. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and deal a standard hand, just one hand versus one dealer hand, just to keep it nice and simple so you guys can see, for you visual learners, what I mean by a hard total. So a hard total works when you get cards that only have their one assigned value. So we're going to go ahead and deal out. So I have a 3 over here, and the dealer is going to take a 7. And then I'm going to go ahead and take this 9 over here, and then the dealer gets a face down card. So we don't know what the dealer's whole card is or face down card up until we decide whether we want to hit or stand and whether we end our turn. There's a 2-turn system to it. Alright, so seeing that we have a 7, if you guys want to look at your card from Wizard of Odds, we have a 7 here, and our total is a 9 and a 3, bringing us up to a total of 12. So that's kind of a weak hand. Now, personally, what I like to do, I always like to assume the face down card is a 10, so I'm assuming the strongest hand possible. Well, second strongest hand possible, but strongest hand possible, let's be honest. Alright, so since we have a 12 over here, the appropriate thing to do, because it's a hard total, we go ahead and check our hard total, which is going to be the top part of the card. So as you guys can see, the 12 versus a 7, we want to hit. So we're going to take another card out of the deck. We're going to ask the dealer for another card out of the deck, and we're going to get that added. Now, unfortunately, we've lost. We had a pretty good chance of still getting away with the win, but because we drew a 10 card instead of a 9 or below, we've lost. So now the dealer reveals their card, which was only an 8. So if we would have stood, it is what it is, but the only cards that could have busted us were a 10, a jack, a queen, or a king. If we would have gotten a 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, or an ace, that's 9 cards compared to the 5, we still would have been just fine. So that's why we decided to make that decision, if that makes sense. Now a soft total is a little different. Now a soft total always involves an ace, and that's an ace that has the flexibility to be either a 1 or an 11. And it doesn't matter what the other card is or what combination of cards is, as long as the ace has the flexibility to be a 1 or an 11, then you're in a pretty good spot. So let's say, for example, that you get a soft 16. So that soft 16 can either consist of an ace and a 5, that would make 16, if you decide that the ace needs to stay 11. Or a soft 16 can also consist of an ace, a 2, or a 3. That would still be soft because you don't go over the 21 if you get something else, and if you decide to stay, then you can turn it into something else. It gives it that flexibility. Now we're going to discuss soft totals. Now these are often the toughest totals for people to figure out. Splits are just kind of a thing of memorization, and then hard totals, you're going to go ahead and get that out of experience. But soft totals are always they always feel like a very strategic thing, especially if you ask me. So let's go ahead and see what happens if we do a soft total. So we're going to go ahead and get our card here, opponent's card, our card here, whole card here. Okay, so as you guys can see, I have an ace here. So an ace can be a 1 or 11, and then we have the 3. So that means that I have a floating total. On the hardest end, we have a 4, softest end of 14. Now I say softest end because if I do get a big card, like a 10, then normally I'd be at 24 if I counted this as an 11. But because I have the flexibility to bring this back to a 1, I can just say, no, actually I want a 1 for this ace, and it's going to go back to a 14 and give me more options. That's why soft totals are flexible and okay. Versus hard totals, where if this was a 10, and then I got another 10 card, then I'd just lose. So soft totals actually aren't so bad. All right, so right now we have a 5 versus our soft total of a 14. So that 11 plus a 3 makes the 14. And the thing about soft totals is they still make soft totals if they're made up of different cards too. Like if this was, if this was a 2 and another 2 and an ace, they'd still be a soft 15 because I still wouldn't bust. So you got to keep that in mind too. But let's go ahead and work with a soft 14. Our official guide for this one would indicate that we want to double with a soft 14 against a 5. So that means you'd take your bet and you'd put down another one. You'd only get one more card and then go ahead and go from there. Now, some casinos won't let you do that, so then you just want to hit to make the hand stronger. But we're going to go ahead and assume optimal play, so we're going to double, just out like this. Oh, look at that. Look at that. We got ourselves a 7. So if we're sitting here with a 7 plus a 3, that's a 10, and then we either have a 1, which would make it 11, or more accurately, an 11, which would make it 21, we're in a good spot. So we're going to stay regardless, because we did double, we don't get a choice to hit again. Oh, and then we have a dealer 15. So with a dealer 15, they have to hit because it's below 17. They hit again. That's a 25. We got a 21. There was basically no way for them to beat us, and we also doubled our bet. So not only do we win, we got double the money we were anticipating to get. Now a split is when you have pairs of cards that match exactly. That can be an ace and an ace, that could be a 10 and a 10, and that can be a 5 and a 5, or what have you. And you do have the option to split those unless you have a 10 and a 10, a face card and a face card, or a 5 and a 5, because most of the time you don't want to do that. There are very, very specific circumstances where it's okay, but that involves counting, that involves some very advanced strategy. We're not going to get into that today, so don't you worry about that. For all intents and purposes, if you get a 5 and a 5, which makes it 10, don't split it. If you get a 10 and a 10, that makes it 20. Jesus, don't split it. That's probably going to be the best hand that you're just going to be straight up dealt. That's the second best hand you can be straight up dealt. But that's basically going to be the best hand that you're going to be dealt all night. Hold it. You have a much better probability of winning there. So let it be. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and move on to the split. All right, guys. So what's going to happen here is I'm going to go ahead and deal out some cards. We're going to go ahead and make them like instant split cards, though. So that's going to be a thing. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to start. We get a 9 over here. That's a good card. And then we're going to go ahead and get, we're going to go ahead and just deal our face card over here. And then we get another 9 over here. And we're going to put this one face down. So we have no idea what we're doing over here, but we have these 9s over here. So the 5, we're seeing a 5. We're assuming that this is a 10 because this is a face down card. That's usually what basic strategy assumes. So now we have 2 9s. This makes a hard 18, which is good. It means that we're in a pretty good spot. But basic strategy will tell us exactly which card to use. Okay, so since we have these 2 9s against the 5 over here, as you guys can tell on your last part of the basic strategy card, Wizard of Odds is going to recommend that we split these. And the reason is because if we do get a 10 on each of these, that means it's 2 19s versus a probable 15 versus having a hard 18 versus a probable 15. That increases our odds of winning. So we're going to split these, and we're going to take a card here. Okay, so that's an 8. So that's going to make a 17. So now, since we split these, we're just going to go ahead and refer back to our hard total because it's not an ace. So if we go back to our card again, we see that a 17, a hard 17 versus a 5, we want to stand. So we're not going to ask for any more cards. So we draw a card. That's also a 9. Now, we have an option here. Depending on what casino you're at and depending on what rule set, you can split again or you have to stay. So, if this is a casino that allows us to split, we would want to split again, but most casinos on the Strip are only going to let you split up to 2 hands. Since this is a hard 18, we may as well stand here. So we have a 17 and an 18 against a 5. We're in a pretty good position over here. So now we're going to go ahead and stand in this case. And now the dealer's going to reveal their whole card here. That's a 5. So that means they have a 10 here. So they have to hit, putting us in a pretty advantageous position here. So now they get a 2, which is a 12. That's below a 17, so they have to hit again. And that's a king. So as you know, 5 plus 5 is 10, plus 2 is 12, and plus the king, which is counted as a 10, is 22. So they've gone over the 21. They lose automatically, and we win on both hands because we got close to 21 without going over. So those bets that we've made money on. So unlike that first hand that we tried out, we won. Alright guys, hey, thanks again for clicking on the video. If you haven't already, please go ahead and drop a like, subscribe if you haven't already, pass it around to your friends, comment down below. It really helps the channel grow and helps me come up with more ideas like this to pass around to other people and help more people out so that you guys can get more free stuff in Vegas and, you know, hopefully save an extra couple bucks on your bankroll. Thankfully, I don't work for the casino, so I'd much rather see you guys win. So there's that. I'm not expecting you to get rich. If you somehow get rich, hey, go ahead and send me a couple bucks. If not, no sweat. This isn't really the get rich strategy. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be sharing it with you, let's be honest. And it's on the internet too, so there's that too. Thanks for dropping by, and until next time, Ace of Vegas is signing out. Strong hands, and happy spinning, you guys.